Hi guys, this is the Wjec GCSE Mathematics Unit 2 intermediate paper on June 2018. We've been asked to solve x over 4 equals 7. So this is quite a classic algebra. These are all going to be algebra questions on question 1. And first thing we're going to do is have to rearrange this to find the unknown, which is x. So first off we have x over 4 equals 7. I want to know what 1x is, so I need to get rid of this over 4, this divide by 4. I'm going to do that by timesing both sides by 4, and then I'm left with x equals 7 times 4, therefore x equals 28. Okay, so on to part B. We have 3f plus 7g plus f minus 4g, and we're asked to simplify. So what we could do here is just rearrange this equation so our f terms are together and our g terms are together, and we're allowed to do that as long as we keep the signs consistent. So our 7g is positive, so that sign needs to stay with 7g. That f is positive, and this minus 4g is a negative, and we're not told, but we know that is a positive 3f at the start. So all I'm going to do is just rearrange this. So I'm going to have 3f, positive 3f, I'm going to have plus f, and then I'm going to have plus 7g minus 4g. And you can see that now I have my f's together and my g's together. It just makes it a bit nicer for me. So I now have 4f, because that's 3f plus f. There is a 1 in front of this f, so it's 3 plus 1, 4f, and 7g minus 4g, 7 minus 4, which will give me positive 3g. Okay, now the next question, use the formula 5p plus 2q equals t to find the value of q when p equals 4 and t equals 24.6. Okay, so what we're going to do is find out what q is when p equals 4, t equals 24.6. So whenever I see p, I'm going to sub in 4. Whenever I see t, I'm going to sub in 24.6. So I'll rewrite it out. So I've got 5 lots of 4, okay, plus 2 lots of q. I haven't been told what q is, and we've been asked to find the value of q, so we've got to keep that as q equals, and t, I've got 24.6. okay, so now I can times through. So I've got 5 times 4, which is going to be 20, plus 2q equals 24.6. Now I'm just going to rearrange. So I need to get rid of this 20 first, and it's adding to 2q, so I'm going to minus 20 from both sides. So I'm going to have 2q equals 24.6 minus 20, and then I can simplify that. So I've got 2q equals 4.6, and then I want to find out what 1q is. I want to find the value of q, not 2q, so I need to get rid of this 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I'm left with q equals 4.6 divide by 2. So then I've got q equals 2.3, and that's my answer. We've been told that the square drawn below has rotational symmetry of order 4. Place 2 identical dots on the square so that it will have rotational symmetry of order 2. Okay, so when we're dealing with rotational symmetry, we're basically saying that how many times does that shape remake itself within 360 degrees. So I am spinning this shape 360 degrees and seeing how many times it comes back to its normal shape. And the reason it's 4 already is because every 90 degrees I will return back to this original shape. And so we've been told to place 2 identical dots on the square so that it will have a rotational symmetry of order 2. So now I'm placing 2 dots to make sure that, to say that every 180 degrees it will come back to its original shape. And I have 2 choices here. I can draw them on this one and this one, because that means when I turn it 90 it won't be the same, but when I turn it 180 it will be the same. Or I could have done it here and here. Okay, so the next question, the regular hexagon drawn has a rotational symmetry of order 6, which makes sense. It repeats its shape 6 times within 360 degrees. It says place 3 identical dots on the regular hexagon so that will have rotational symmetry of order 3. Okay, so I have 2 choices again. I'm going to put this one here, and this one here. So every 120 degrees I rotate the shape, I'm going to get back to my original shape. So I'll have order rotational symmetry of 3. Okay, I could have put it here, here, and here. Okay, so the next question, which of the following shapes has rotational symmetry of order 3 but has no line symmetry? So we need to be knowing our difference between line symmetry and rotational symmetry. So rotational symmetry is when we rotate the object to see if it makes itself again. Line symmetry is if we can draw a line and that it's as if it's a mirror. So this one has line symmetry because that shape, this side over here, is the exact same as this side. Okay, so we've been asked which of the following shapes has rotational symmetry of order 3 but has no line of symmetry. Okay, so we want an object that we can rotate 3 times but has no line of symmetry, and I know that's going to be this one. And that's because if I look at this now and I think of it as line of symmetry, my shape is not a mirror, it's not completely mirrored, because otherwise I'd have a cross here, a triangle here. My triangle here would look like this, not the other way. So I know I don't have line of symmetry. And order of symmetry, I know when I rotate this 360 degrees, I make the same shape 3 times. So this is my answer. And we've been told a travel company offers the following holiday options. So we're told that the time of the holiday is summer or winter, the accommodation is cottage or hotel, and transport, train, bus or car. List all the possible different combinations of holiday options that the company offers. One has been done for you. So we've been told that the summer, cottage, train. So we can have summer, cottage, bus. We can have, I'm now going to shorten it, so just using the first letter. So summer, cottage, train. Train and bus have been done, so car. I then have summer, hotel, train. I have summer, hotel, bus. I've got summer, hotel, car. And now I'm going to have the same again, but just winters now. So winter, cottage, train. Winter, cottage, bus. Winter, cottage, car. I'm going to have winter, hotel, train. Winter, hotel, bus. Winter, hotel, car. Great, and that's all my possibilities. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 12 possibilities. And a holiday is chosen at random from all the different combinations on offer. P is the probability that the chosen holiday is a summer holiday, staying in a cottage and travelling by train. Make the point P on the probability scale shown below. So I know that that's going to be a 1 in 12 because I've got 12 options. This is 1 to 12 and they've picked out one. So summer holiday, staying in a cottage, which is this one. So sorry, it's not that one. It's summer holiday cottage by train. So it's going to be this one. It's the first one. So it's going to be a 1 in 12 odds of me getting that holiday. And we can put 1 in 12 into our calculator. It's a calculator exam, so we may as well use our calculator. So 1 divided by 12, we get as a decimal, that's 0.083. Free recurring. And so we know this is 0.2, 0.6, oh, not even that. So we're going to have, this scale is 2.25, 0.50, 0.75. Okay, and so now we need to plot it relatively. So this is going to be about 0.125, and we're probably going to be looking about here. And so we can label that P. Great. You don't have to be too accurate with it as long as it's in the right region. We're told which of the following fractions is nearest to 1/4. We've got 1/5, 7/25, and 15/50. So I think the best way to do this is just use your calculator. So 1/5, if we put that into a calculator, we get 0.2. If we use 7/25 in a calculator, we'll get 0.28, and then 13/50 into a calculator, we've got 0.26. So let's look at what the difference is from a quarter. So we know a quarter is 0.25. So we can look at the difference. So that the difference between 0.2 and 0.25 is 0.05. The difference between 0.28 and 0.25 is 0.03. And the difference between 0.26 and 0.25 is 0.01. So what's the smallest difference? And we know that's going to be 0.01. So there we go. So we know 15/50ths is the closest to a quarter. And that's it. We're asked to calculate both the area and the perimeter of a rectangle 6 centimeters long and 4.5 centimeters wide. Use the answer spaces to clearly identify which is the area and which is the perimeter. You must give the correct units for each of your answers. So, okay, so let's draw out this rectangle roughly. Okay, so we've got a rectangle, and we're told it's 6 centimeters long, so this will be 6 centimeters, and we're told it's 4.5 centimeters wide, so 4.5 centimeters. And we're asked to find out the area and the perimeter. So we know the area of a rectangle is just the length times width. So that's going to be 6 times 4.5, which in a calculator we get 27. And our units now, because we're dealing with area, is centimeters squared. And the perimeter now, so perimeter, we know the perimeter is all of the outside of the shape. So we're going to add 6 plus 4.5 plus 6 plus 4.5. We can put this on a calculator. And so we got 6 plus 4.5 plus 6 plus 4.5, and we got 21. And because we're dealing with a length, that will just be 21 centimeters. So area is 27 centimeters squared, perimeter is 21 centimeters. And that's it. We've been asked to circle the correct equations for each of the following. All the lines shown are straight lines. So we've got a triangle here and a straight line, and these are our equations. Okay, so we know all angles in a triangle will add up to 180 degrees. That's important. And we know all angles on a straight line equal 180 degrees. So we can do this, or we can look. So we've got A plus B. We'll call this X for now. And let's say we know that X plus C here, we know the angle X plus angle C will equal 180 degrees. So we can say that X equals 180 degrees minus C. Then if I make an equation for the triangle now, I can have A plus B plus X equals 180 degrees, because that's all the angles in a triangle. And I'll sub in this for X, because I said X equals 180 minus C. I've got X here. So I'm going to have A plus B plus 180 minus C equals 180 degrees. And now I think it's a case of rearranging. So I've got A plus B plus 180 minus C equals 180. And I can see that when I take so what I want to do is take my numbers onto one side. So I'm going to have A plus B minus C equals, I'm going to have 180, because I'm going to take 180 away to move this. Both my 180s are going to cancel out. So I'm going to have 180 minus 180 give me 0. So A plus B minus C equals 0. Okay, and now I've got to try and find an equation that matches this. Okay, so A equals B plus C, that's not correct. B equals C plus A, that's not correct. B equals A minus C, that's not correct. Okay, so we can say that this is correct, because if I was to add C to both sides, I'd have A plus B equals C. Yeah, I think that was quite a tricky question. I think that was a lot more work than 1 mark. Unless you can physically see that that is A plus B equals C, I think solving it mathematically is quite tricky. So here we go. We got parallel lines now. So when we have parallel lines, we know that C will equal R, Q will equal B, D will equal S, A will equal P. We know that. We also know that D plus C will equal 180 degrees, A plus B will equal 180 degrees. We know A and C will be the same. We know Q and R will be the same, and S and Q will be the same. So there's a lot we need to know for parallel lines. And so let's have a look what they've given us. A plus C plus S plus Q equals 360. So we've got A, C, S, Q. Yeah, that works, because we know all of these angles will equal 360 degrees. We know that D is the same as S, and we know B is the same as Q. So it's like saying that we have A, C, S here, and Q here, which they all equal 360 degrees. So that is our answer. Okay, and now we get onto our regular polygon, which is a pentagon, because we have 5 sides. So it's told us A plus B plus C plus D plus E equals 360. Oh, divided by 5 equals 360 y. Or A plus B plus C plus D plus E equals 360 y over 5. And so what we could do, we know that all of these, this E, this A, this B, this C, this D, they all add together to make 360 degrees. So this is going to be my answer. We've been asked to calculate the mean of the 4 time periods, and we're we must give our answer in hours and minutes. So to calculate the mean, we need to add all these up and divide by how many there are. So we're going to have, we need to add all of these up, and we can't really add them up by hours and minutes. So what we could do is change them all to hours, or we could change them all to minutes. So I'm gonna change them all to minutes. So my first one, I've got 5 hours and 20 minutes. So I've got 60 times 5. So we got 60 minutes in an hour. So I've got 60 times 5 is 300. And then I'm going to add on 20 minutes. So for my first one, I've got 320 minutes. So for my second one, I've got 2 times 60, which equals 120. And I'm going to add on 44. So 120 plus 44. So altogether, for my second one, I've got 164 minutes. Okay, so then for my third one, I've got 6 hours and 18 minutes. So I'm going to have 6 times 60 to get my minutes from hours. So that will give me 360. And then I'm going to add 18. So I'm going to have 378 minutes. And I do my last one. So I've got 4 hours. So I've got 4 times 60, which is 240 plus 34, which is 274 altogether. So 4 times 60 plus 34, so 274. So what I can now do is add them all up, so, and divide by how many there are. So 320 plus 164 plus 378 plus 274, all divided by 4. And so if I put that into a calculator, I've got 320 plus 164 plus 378 plus 274, all divided by 4. I've got, my mean is 284 minutes. Okay, and they want it in hours and minutes. So I need to convert this to hours. So I'm going to divide it by 60. So 284 divided by 60. This will give me my answer in hours. So I've got 4.73 recurring hours, which is good. So I now have 4 hours and 0.73 hours, which I'm going to now change this 0.73 recurring to minutes. So I've got 4 hours, and so I've got 0.733 times 60, and I've now got, I can round that up to 44 minutes. So I've just done 0.733 times 60, because that's hours, now to get into minutes. So I've got 44 minutes. And that's it. And so the first thing we see is this question: you'll be assessed on the quality of your organisation, communication, accuracy and writing. So we need to bear that in mind, that there's 2 extra marks here for quality of writing. Okay, and so this cube A and cube B are shown below. So we've got cube A and cube B. Express the volume of B as a percentage of the volume of A. Okay, so we need to find the volume of both of these. So volume, so we'll do volume of A first, and we know to find the volume of a cuboid, we know that's just going to be length. So volume equals length times width times height. So that's just going to be 5 times 5 times 5, which, putting that into a calculator, you'll get 125, and because we're dealing with volume, we've got centimeters cubed. Okay, so volume of B we've got volume equals length times width times height again, because it's a cuboid. So So volume equals 4 times 4 times 5, which, putting that into a calculator, we get 80 centimeters cubed. Okay, so we have 125 and 80. So we need to find the percentage difference. So we could do, express the volume of B as a percentage of volume A. So we know volume B is going to be less than volume A, so we're going to have less than 100%. So we can do 80 divided by 125, which gives us, this gives us 0.64. And that as a percentage is 64%. So we know that volume B is 64% of volume A. And that's it. We've been given a question that says the diagram below shows an equilateral triangle ABC with AB equals 4x minus 7 centimeters. And we're told the perimeter of the triangle is 27 centimeters. Calculate the value of x. So we have an equilateral triangle, so we know all sides are going to be the same. So we know we have 4x minus 7 here, and we have 4x minus 7 here. And we know that the perimeter is just adding up all sides of a shape. So what we need to do is add 4x minus 7 by 4x minus 7 by 4x minus 7. So let's do that. So let's do 4x minus 7 plus 4x minus 7 plus 4x minus 7. And we're told that it's going to equal 27 centimeters. So let's collect like terms. We've got 4x plus 4x plus 4x. So we've got 12x. We've got minus 7, minus 7, minus 7. So we've got minus 21. And we're told that equals 27 centimeters. We can add 21 to both sides to get rid of this minus 21 to leave 12x on its own. So we have 12x equals 27 plus 21. And then so we've got 12x equals 48, and then we can just divide everything by 12 to get x on its own. So we got x equals 48 divided by 12, therefore x equals 4. We've been told a box contains many discs identical in shape and size. A picture of one of 4 Welsh castles is printed on each disc. A disc is chosen at random from the box. Complete the table below to find the probability of choosing a disc shown Dinfra Castle. So we're told that Carmarthen Castle is 0.36, Harlech Castle is 0.12, Rhuddlan Castle is 0.24, and then we got to find out what the odds of this castle is. So we know that all the probabilities will add up to equal 1. So we know that 0.36 plus 0.12 plus 0.24 plus whatever this is. So I'm just going to call it x for now, plus x equals 1. So I need to add all these up. So I've got 0.36 and 0.24. So I've got 0.72 plus x equals 1. So I could rearrange that, or I could just see that the difference between 0.72 and 1 is 0.28. But if I took away 0.72 from both sides, I get x equals 1 minus 0.72, which x equals 0.28. So I know this is 0.28. Okay, in the box there were 522 discs showing a picture of Carmarthen Castle. How many of the discs showed a picture of Harlech Castle? So let's have a look at the ratio. So we could have the ratios here, 36% and 12%. Okay, so we know that this is a 3-to-1 ratio. Yeah, so 0.36, 0.12. So if we have 522, we need to find out what one of these is going to be. So we need to do 522 divided by 3, and that's going to be 174. So we know there's going to be 174 of Harlech Castle. We've been asked to calculate 145.3 over 12.4 minus 9.8 all cubed, giving your answer correct of 3 significant figures. Okay, so the important part here is putting that into a calculator, making sure you keep the brackets, and then the 3 significant figures. So if we put that into a calculator, we get 145.3 over 12 brackets, using our brackets, 12.4 minus 9.8 all cubed. And we get 8.26695 and so on. But we've been asked to 3 significant figures. So that means that we want all the digits that aren't 0, which we don't have any zeros. So we know that but we might have to round up. So we have 8.2, so that's 2 significant figures. So now for our third, we're going to have to look at our fourth, which is this, and see if it rounds our third digit up. And it does, because 6 is greater than 5. We're going to have 8.27, and that's correct to 3 significant figures. And so calculate the reciprocal of 47, giving your answer correct to 4 decimal places. Okay. So when we calculate the reciprocal, we're just doing the reverse of fraction. So if I put this into a fraction, I've got 47 over 1. That's what that is 47. We don't normally write it as 47 over 1 because that's just, that's what the number is. But what we can do, to find the reciprocal, we swap these round. So we're going to have 1 over 47. And if we put that into a calculator, we get, okay, so we get 0.021276, but we've been asked to give your answer correct to 4 decimal places. So we're going to have 0.0, so that's 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, 3 decimal place, 4. But we got to look at our next term to see if we round up, and because 7 is greater than 5, we will. So we're going to have 0.0213, and that's going to be our answer. And we're asked to circle the correct answers in each of the following. Which of the following values cannot be an external angle of a regular polygon? Okay, so we know for different polygons, the external angle of 360 divided by external angle, that gives us our amount of sides. So we could check all factors of 360 degrees. So let's see if if we check our factors of 360 degrees, we do 360 divided by 10, see if it's a whole number, and that is, so that's going to be 36. So we know 10 degrees is a factor. So we know that that is possible. So we know that that is possible. So 18, so 360 divided by 18, that's possible. 360 divided by 30, that's possible because we get 12. 360 divided by 48, we get 7.5 for this one. We get 7.5. So we know that's not possible. We can't have 7.5 sides on a shape. So we know that is incorrect. And we can just double check. So if we do 360 divided by 72, yeah, we get 5. So we know that's a whole number. So the problem we have here is we have half a side, which isn't possible. So therefore 48 degrees cannot be possible. And that's because 360 degrees divided by external angle equals the sides. And I've just rearranged it basically. I've just found that 360 divided by sides. Oh, well, I could have done that. I could have divided by the sides, but I've just divided it by the angle to find the sides, the angles we've been given. Okay, and so an arrow on a spinner is facing north. It is turned clockwise through an angle of 1530. In which direction will the arrow now be facing? So I want to find out how many 360s are in that, how many times it's turned a whole circle. So 1530 divided by 360, that's given me 4.25. So I've started north and I've spun round 4 times and a quarter, so 4.25. So I'm now facing this way. So this is north, this is east, so I know I'll be facing east. Point A on a bearing of 100 degrees from point B. What is the bearing of point B from A? So if we draw this out, so we know bearings always go from north clockwise. So point A is on a bearing 100 degrees from point B. So call this one B, and point A is 100 degrees. So that's about here. Because we know this is 90, this is going to be about 100 degrees. So this now is point A, and we know A's north is here, it's the same north. But we need to find out A to B. So we know we go clockwise from north, which is here. And we kind of know that's just a bit, we have, no, our quadrants, that's 270. So we expect it just to be a bit bigger than 270 degrees, not less because it's past it. So we know we're going to have 280 degrees. And it's a solution of the equation x cubed minus 7x minus 51 equals 0. Lies between 4 and 5. Use the method of trial and improvement to find the solution correct to 1 decimal place. You must show all your workings. Okay, so we've got trial and improvement, and we like these because they're quite simple. So we need 3-column table. We'll have x. We'll have our equation, which is x cubed minus 7x minus 51 equals 0, and we'll have our comment. So lies between 4 and 5, so our first point is going to be half of that, so 4.5. So I've got 4.5 cubed minus 7 lots of 4.5 minus 51, and that is equal to, if I use my calculator, I get I've got 8.6, which I know that is too large because I wanted 0. So I'm going to do a lower number. So I'm going to try 4.4. So 4.4 cubed minus 7 times 4.4. Minus 51 equals 3.4, which is too low. Sorry, they're too big, not too low. Okay, so I'm going to carry on going lower. Okay, so if I do 4.3, so I'll do 4.3 cubed minus 7 lots of 4.3 minus 51, that equals minus 1.6. So that's too low. So between 4.4 and 4.3 is my answer. So now I've got to check 4.35 to see where it lies and if I'm going to round up or if I'm going to round down. So putting 4.35 into a calculator. So 4.35 cubed minus 7 lots of 4.35 minus 51, that equals, okay, so that equals 0.8, which is too big. So Yeah, so now I know that my answer lies between 4.3 and 4.35. So now I can round down to 4.3, and that's correct to one decimal place. And that's it. We've been told the highest common factor of 30 and 75 is the square root of a number. What is the number? Okay, so let's just try and find out our highest common factor of 30 and 75. So let's have a look. Let's do our factor trees. So we're going to have 2, 15. So 2 times 15 equals 30. 2 is a prime number, so I stop there. 15, I've got 3 times 5, and 3 and 5 are both prime. So I make 30 with 2 times 3 times 5. 75, I can do 3 and 25. 3 is prime, so I stop 3. 25, I can do 5 and 5. And they're both prime, so I've got 3 times 5 times 5. Okay, so now I can check what's in both. I've got a 3 in both, and I've got a 5 in both. So I can see that my highest common factor is 3 times 5, which is 15. And I'm told is the square root of a number. So I've just got to do that. So my number, so x, the square root of the number. So I'm just going to square. So x, the root of x equals 15. So I'm going to square both. So I'm going to get x equals 15 squared. And so I'm just going to square it. So 15 squared, and that's x equals 225. Okay. So the cube root of 32.768 is 33 1/3% of a number. What is the number? So this 33 1/3%, what that is saying is just this is 1/3 as a fraction. The cube root of 32 points. So let's cube root this. So if we cube root, we're going to have not a regular square root, so cube root in 32.768 we're going to have, and if you don't know this one, this, if you shift on your x, so when you have x thing, box, if you shift that, if you press shift and press that button, shift this button, you'll get a box and a square root, and that's where your 3 goes. Okay, so 32.768 and that's 16/5, which equals 3.2. So the cube root of 32.768 is 3.2. 3.2 is 1/3 of a number. So what I'm going to do is times this 3/1. So 3.2 times 3/1, that will give me 9.6. And 3/1 is the reciprocal of a third, which was also could have just done 3.2 times 3, which equals 9.6. PQR is a right-angled triangle as shown below. PQ is 1.41 meters and PR is 0.89 meters, and they've been drawn on. Calculate the length of QR. So we know we want this because that's between Q and R. And I'm just going to call that, and we know this is a right-angled triangle. We know this is the hypotenuse. That's the longest side of a triangle, the hypotenuse. So we've been given a length, and we've been asked to find out a length. So we're going to use Pythagoras theorem, and that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we can use either of these as a and b, as long as this hypotenuse must be c. So we can use that is A, that is B, so 0.89 squared plus 1.41 squared equals C squared. So putting that into a calculator, we have 2.7802 equals C squared. So I want to find out what C is, not C squared, so I go to square root both sides. So I got square root of 2.7802 equals C. Putting that into a calculator, I get 1.6674. I'm just going to leave that as one decimal place as 1.7. So QR equals 1.7 meters. Visitors to the top of Snowdon can either walk up the mountain or take the mountain railway from Llanberis. On a particular day, a visitor at the top of Snowdon is chosen at random. The probability that this person is female is 0.42. The probability that this person took the train is 0.35. The decision to walk or take the train is independent of gender. So complete the tree diagram shown below. Okay, so we know that each of these are going to add up to 1 because there's only two options. It's either male or female. So if it's female, 0.42. To be male, 0.58. Okay, we're told that the person who took the train is 0.35. So if we put that in, so 0.35, we can put it there. And again, because it's independent of gender, it's the same for both genders. So 0.35. And then we've got to find out what you add to make 1. So that's going to be 0.65, 0.65. And that's it. Then it says the person chosen at random receives a gift voucher. What is the probability that the person is female and travelled up the mountain? So female would be 0.42 and travelled by train is 0.35. So we'd have 0.42 times 0.35, and that, putting into your calculator, is 0.147. That's your answer. We're told the diagrams below show two similar shapes, so that's important. A, B, C, D and P, Q, R, S. Calculate the value of X. Okay, so if these are similar shapes, that means they are scaled at the same, so each side will be scaled the same. So we got to find out if we need to find a side that we have units for, because we can't do this one because 3.2 gives you X. On this side is Y equals 6.3. So here we've got 5.6 and 8.4. So we need to find what factor has increased it by. So how is that increased? So what we do 8.4 divided by 5.6 to see what it's been times by to make it that big. So 8.4 divided by 5.6, and that's going to give us 1.5. So this 8.4 is 1.5 times 5.6. So to find X, X would be 3.2 times by 1.5 equals X. So we just do 3.2 times X, 3.2 times 1.5, we can put that in our calculator, and that's 4.8 centimeters. And then calculate the value of Y. So we know that this side is Y, so 6.3. So to get from Y to 6.3, we'd have had to times it by 1.5, but because we're going backwards, we're going to divide it by 1.5. So 6.3 divided by 1.5 equals 4.2 centimeters. Well, that's it. and we've been given a rectangle of length 12 centimeters and width 2x minus y centimeters, has an area of 72 centimeters squared. So we know the area of this rectangle is 72 centimeters squared. Okay, and then we said KLMN is a kite where KL equals 3x centimeters and LM equals y centimeters. Okay, hold on. The perimeter of the kite is 33 centimeters. Okay, so I'm just going to make a small note that all around here, the whole perimeter is 33 centimeters. Calculate the values of x and y. You must show your workings. Do not use trial and improvement method. Okay, so let's look at the rectangle first. So we're told the area of the rectangle is 7. So we have area of rectangle equals 72 centimeters squared. Okay, so what is the area? We have an equation for area of a rectangle, which is length times width. So we can do that. So we'll times 12 by 2x minus y. So we'll have 12 times 2x minus y. And we know that's the area of a rectangle, which is, for our rectangle, 72 centimeters squared. Okay, so then expanding this out, we've got 12 times 2x. We're going to have 24x. And then we're going to have 12 times minus y. So we're going to have minus 12 y. And that equals 72 centimeters squared. Perfect. So we aren't able to find out x and y just from this equation because we have two unknowns within one equation. We're not able to work it out yet. This is going to be simultaneous equations because we have two unknowns. So let's have a look at this one. So we have 3x. So working out the perimeter of any shape, we just count the outside, the lengths on the outside. So we have 3x plus y plus another y, because this will be y, and this is a bit close, so I'll just move this. Perimeter equals 33 centimeters, and this is 3x, this length here. So I'll have plus y plus 3x, and that is 33. So collecting like terms, I'll have 6x plus 2y, and that equals 33 centimeters. Okay, so now I've got my two equations. I've got equation 1 here, and I've got equation 2 here, and I'm going to write them next to each other so I can see them clearly. So I'll have 24x minus 12y equals 72, and I've got 6x plus 2y equals 33. Great. So now what I have to do is either make x or y the same and find a way to cancel them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the y's. So I'm going to make the y's the same number and then find a way to cancel them out. So I've got 12y on equation 1. I've got 2y on equation 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times everything by equation 2 by 6, because that will give me 12y. So I've got 36x plus 12y, and then I've got 33 times 6, which using a calculator, that will give me 198. Great. So now I've got 36x plus 12y equals 198, and then I'm just going to write out equation 1 so it's in columns, so it's right next to each other. So 24x minus 12y equals 72. And we know, because we've now got y's the same, we now are going to look at the signs they have. So they have different signs. If they have different signs, we're going to add them. And if they had the same size, we'd take them away. This is because when we add equation 1 to equation 3, we'll call this equation 3, the minus 12y plus 12y will equal 0. So that means they're gone. So I'm just going to have x's and numbers. So I'll have 24x plus 36x. This will give me 60x. Minus 12y plus 12y will give me 0. And I've got 72 plus 198. That'll give me 270. Okay, so I know 60x equals 270. So I'm going to divide both sides by 60. So then x equals 270 divided by 60. And that is x equals... So that gives me x equals 4.5, which is great. Now that I know what x is, I can sub it into one of my other equations and find out what y is. So I can use any of the equations. I'm going to use equation 2, which is 6x plus 2y equals 33. I'm going to sub x equals 4.5 in. So I've got 6 lots of 4.5 plus 2y equals 33. 6 times 4.5, I can just put that into a calculator and I get 27 plus 2y equals 33. So I need to move this 27, so I'm going to minus 27 from both sides. I've got 2y equals 33 minus 27. So I've got 2y equals 6. So then dividing both sides by 2, y equals 6 divided by 2, and that gives me y equals 3. So both my x equals 4.5 and my y equals 3. We've been given two right-angled triangles. In triangle ABC, AB is 6.5 centimeters and BC 10.4, which has been labelled for us. In triangle CDE, CE equals 9.4 centimeters, which has been labelled for us. We're told BCE is 22 degrees and ACB is x degrees. Okay, and we've been asked to find the value of x. So the first thing we're going to look here is we're dealing with right-angled triangles, and our two methods when solving with right-angled triangles, we have Pythagoras or we use SOHCAHTOA. Okay, and now it all depends on what we're trying to find and what we've been given. So the first thing we're asked to do is find x. X is an angle, so we can't use Pythagoras because that just uses lengths of sides. So what we're going to do is use, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so we've got this triangle. Now we're going to label it with O, H and A. So we know that the opposite of the angle, 6.5 centimeters. We know this is the hypotenuse because it's the longest line. And we know this is the adjacent. Okay, so we've been given O and A. So we know we'll be using TOA. So then we can write out tan. I like to do it in a triangle. So we'll have a triangle. So we have tan theta or tan x. We'll have O on top and A to the bottom right. Okay, and what we can do there is now I do a second triangle with my numbers plugged in. So O is 6.5, A is 10.4, and we've got tan x in here. Great. So now I'm going to write this triangle out properly. So I've got tan x equals 6.5 over 10.4. So I don't want tan x, I just want x. So I've got to do the opposite of tan to get rid of it. So I'm going to tan minus 1 both sides. That means I'll be left with x equals tan minus 1, 6.5 over 10.4. And there we go. And now I just need to put that into a calculator. And I get 6.5 over 10.4. That will give me 32 degrees. Nice. And then we're asked, hence, find the length of DE. So let's see what we're playing with. So length DE is this length. Okay. We know we've got another right angled triangle. If it's not clear, I'll draw it in. So this here is our right angled triangle, and we're trying to find that length DE. Okay, and we now know that this x is 32, we know this is 22, so this whole angle here for this right angled triangle, this is going to be 32 plus 22, which will be 54 degrees, this whole angle. Okay, now what we can do is relabel this new triangle So our opposite is going to be DE. Our hypotenuse is 9.4, and then our adjacent is CD. So what's useful to us? Well, we're trying to find DE, which is O, so we're going to use O. We have been given a number for H, so we're going to use O and H. Using SOHCAHTOA, we know we're going to use SAW, because that has O and H. So we know that we're going to be using sine theta, so I'm going to do my triangle again. So bottom left, I'm going to have sine theta, and then at the top I have so I got O, and then I've got H. Then I'm going to redo my triangle with numbers. So I've now got sine, and my angle is 54. So I've got sine 54 degrees. I've got O, which I don't know, so I'm just leaving O as O. And then H, which I found out is 9.4. Okay, so now I'm going to write it out properly. So I've got sine 54 equals O over 9.4. I want to find what O is, so it's a case of rearranging to get O on its own. So that means times and through both sides 9.4, and then I have 9.4 times sine 54 equals O, which O is DE, don't forget, so 9.4 times sine 54 gives me 7.6 centimeters. So I know DE was 7.6 centimeters. And that's it. Hi guys, if you found this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing. All written notes will be available in the description. Best of luck with all your exams, and I'll see you in the next one.